Hello students, welcome to KENE'S Educare, a group of KENE solutions. This is part 6 of lesson number 1, Matter in Our Surroundings. Now like part 6, let's see if we can complete this lesson in this part 6, or else like we will have one more part for the lesson where we will be mostly discussing the summary and the exercise part, but it all depends on like how part 6 goes. Okay, so like if you all remember, in the last class we have like started discussing more about matters, where we like before that class we studied on properties of solid, properties of liquid, properties of gas, but there were few properties that were still left, right? So we have completed those properties in the last class along with an activity. So I hope that every one of you have revised whatever has been discussed in the last part, right? Because revision, as I'm constantly telling you that you need to revise each and everything, there's a reason behind it, because once you revise it, like after each and every part, whatever you have studied in your previous part, okay, you are preparing yourself. So after like, if you can see, we are allocating 6 part for one lesson. So if you are going through the videos properly, you should not be like, you can say you have to sit extra to prepare for the lesson. Okay, like you should not sit extra for preparing your answers as well. You should be ready with each and everything, because I try to explain the concepts again and again. If it has been as misunderstood, or if you have not understood it, everything should be clear to you all, right? So that is the reason I tell you all to please keep on revising each and every part that we have studied, and whatever notes you are making, they're going to help you a lot, because now in the start of every part I'm telling you to revise it, so you know what you have written and you are even revising it. So that is how you like the brain is taking that concepts in its mind, and you are understanding it properly as well. Okay, so before I proceed with the further part for the lesson matter in our surrounding, I want each and every one of you to please revise the notes that you have made starting from part 1, because part 1 was introductory part, so I had made sure that you all are like knowing the lesson well, right? Because we are left with a brief concept on evaporation. Now evaporation has been explained a lot in detail, and there's like one more part. And if you remember, in the last part we have discussed on what is latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization, and there were many new things that you studied in part 5, right? So I want you all to please revise each and everything that you have like that we have done so far in the lesson. So like I'm going to show you the slides one by one, and I want each one of you to please go through the slide very well so that you are revising the concepts well. Now, if I tell you how matter has been classified by the Indian philosophers into five different forms, can you name the five elements? So it includes like air, earth, fire, sky, water, right? And all these five basic elements we call it as pancha tattva, right? And when we like further classify matter on the basis of the physical state, we can classify it as solid, liquid and gas. And on the basis of chemical composition, we can further classify it as pure substances and mixture, right? So pure substance can either be an element or a compound, and mixtures can be homogeneous or heterogeneous, right? After this, we discussed on the physical nature of matter. So I want you all to please go through this once. I hope everyone is like able to explain the activity in your own words, because that is what matters over here. You should be able to explain the activity in your own words. Okay? Able to explain it in the sense you have to know the explanation for it, you should be knowing the inference for it, and you should be even knowing like what are you observing. So you should be having this thing ready with you: observation, explanation and inference at the end. Okay? After this we discussed on like how small are the particles of matter, right? So I want you all to please go through it once as well. I hope you all are able to explain like what is your observation for it, what is your, you can say, explanation and your inference for it. Okay. After this activity, we discussed on the characteristics of the particles of matter, like what exactly are the characteristics of the particles of matter, right? So here we have the image of how exactly you can say solid, liquid and gas particles have been arranged together. So we have even discussed on the characteristics of matter having space between them, where solids do not have any space, liquids they have like space in between all the particles, whereas gases they move freely here and there, right? After this, we discussed on this activity 1.2.1, so I just want you all to please go through it once. After this activity, we discussed on that particles of matter are continuously moving, right? So each and every particle they keep on moving continuously. So as you can say, solids they are so compactly packed. Liquids they move freely, like not that much freely as compared to gas. Gases do not have any bond together. Okay, then you can say gases they move freely in the. So this is how particles of matters are been arranged and they constantly keep on moving. And we explained that concept where particles of matter keep on continuously moving through activity 1.3, right? After this, we discussed on this activity 1.4. So I want each one of you to please go through it once. After this, we discussed on this the crystals of copper sulfate. Like you need to have a drop of crystals of copper sulfate or potassium permanganate. You need to take that in a glass of hot water, and another you need to take it in cold water, and then you have to like stir. Do not stir the mixture, and what you have to like allow it, you have to allow that all the crystals will go and settle down at the bottom. Okay, and you have to see what happens as the time passes. So here also, like I've explained you, what will be your observation, what will be your explanation and your inference, right? So I want you all to revise it once and see, whenever you are been like given an answer to write on and you're not remembering what exact points can be written, there you can explain the answers using an activity, and that is why so many activities have been given, right? So make sure you're utilizing these activities, you're understanding them easy, and then like proceeding further with it. Okay. After this, we discussed on particles of matter attract each other, right? So this was also one of the interesting games. Please revise it, everyone. So after that, we discussed on this activity 1.7. Okay, so I just want you all to please go through it very quickly. Then we discussed on activity 1.8, so I want you all to please go through it once. Then we discussed on states of matter, which is very important, where we discussed that matter exists in three states: solid, liquid, and gas. So we have studied the properties of each, along with, you can say, along with activity, so that you are understanding all the characteristics of properties, liquids and gases respectively. And like we have studied before as well, that matter not only exists in these three states, but there are two more states in which matter exists, right? That is, the fourth one is plasma, and the fifth one, that fifth one is Bose-Einstein condensate. So these are the other states of matter which exist, but we don't consider them much, because the most objects that are like there around us, they are mostly, you can say, solid, liquid, or either in gaseous state. That is the reason we don't consider plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate, but you should be having a knowledge on it, and that is why I have stated it before as well. Okay, so I want you all to please go through the properties of solid over here. Then we studied on this activity, so I just want each one of you to please go through it as well. Then we discussed on properties of liquid, right? So I want you all to please go through it once. After the properties of liquid, we discussed on this activity 1.10. So I want you all to please go through this activity. I don't know if you have done this activity or not, because there was something like you can say which might not be available with you, right? But like we have discussed on the observation, you can say explanation and the conclusion as well. After this, we discussed on properties of gas. So here we have few of the properties which have been given over here, like they do not have definite shape or fixed volume, but they are highly compressible. Now highly compressible because we know that we use like the oxygen cylinders which have been used in the hospitals. In that cylinders oxygen are been compressed. Why is it possible? Because gases are highly compressible. Then the LPG cylinders that we like get at our own house, that has been used in the kitchen, there also the gas has been compressed, right? That is why compressibility is one of the, you can say, best feature of gases that we have. Okay, so I hope every one of you are going through the property. After this, we discussed on like this is the activity that we have like mostly discussed, you can say, that we have discussed about, right? So I just want you all to please go through this activity because this is very important as well, because when you are writing the property, you should be able to explain it with respect to an act, like when you are writing the properties of gas, you should be able to explain those properties through an activity as well, right? So please go through it, everyone. After this, like here we have mostly the explanation part for it, so I want you all to please go through it once. So I hope every one of you are going through this, all the topics, all the points which have been given over here, because these are very important for you to know when you are explaining the properties of gas. And like, because the properties of gas, if you write, you will mostly get, if you write 6 point, you will get 3 marks. But what if the answer is for, you can say, what if the answer is for mm 5 to 6 marks, then in that case what will you do, right? So you should always prepare yourself to do it properly. Okay, I hope everyone is going through this slide well. After this, like, this is how the particles are been arranged in solid, liquid and the gases, right? So I want you all to please go through it once. Then we discussed on, like, can matter change its state. So we have even discussed it in the last class, right? So I want you all to please go through it once. So we started discussing about the effect of change of temperature in the last class, right? So I want you all to please go through it once. After this, like, this is the brief explanation that we did in the last class, where we have studied about the latent heat, melting point, and there were so many things that we have discussed over here, right? So I want you all to please go through it properly. So after this, we discussed on like how exactly the state of matter changes from solid state to liquid and from liquid to gaseous state, right? So when we are going to heat any of the like any substance which is in solid state, that after heating it will get converted to liquid state, right? When we are going to heat the liquid again, it is going to get converted to gaseous state. Then when gaseous state has been cooled, it gets converted to liquid, and when liquid state has been cooled, it gets converted to solid state, right? After that, now we need to discuss this sublimation process, like how exactly sublimation of ammonium chloride takes place, right? So for this, we need to take some camphor or ammonium chloride in it, okay? We need to have camphor or ammonium chloride, and then we need to crush it and put it in china dish, okay? After doing it, after crushing and putting it in china dish, we need to have an inverted funnel over the china dish. What do we need to have? We need to have inverted funnel over the china dish, now as it has been shown in the picture, okay? After keeping it like after keeping the inserted inverted funnel, we need to put a cotton plug on the stem of the funnel. So can you see on the top of the funnel there is a cotton plug which has been shown? So we need to do it like that way, and then heat slowly and observe what happens. So what do you infer from the above activity? We need to study that in detail. Okay, so see what they have given: a change of state directly from solid, what? A change of state directly from solid to gas without changing into liquid state. Now camphor or ammonium chloride. They were solid in nature. Okay. Now what we are doing, we are directly converting the solid into gas without changing into liquid state. So this process we call it as sublimation. And when the direct change of gas to solid without changing into liquid takes place, it means what we have done, we are converting the gas directly to solid. We are not converting it to liquid in between. So in that case, we call it as deposition. So here we have two different important definitions. One of sublimation, where solids are getting converted to gaseous state without changing into liquid. That is called as sublimation. And in deposition, what happens when gas gets converted to solid directly without changing to liquid? We call that as deposition process. Got it? So I want you all to draw this and even write the definition of sublimation and deposition in your book, where you need to show how the cotton plug has been inserted and how the funnel has been placed, how an inverted funnel has been placed on camphor or ammonium chloride, like whatever we take. Okay. After this, like now the next thing here we complete with effect of change of temperature. Now we need to discuss on effect of change of pressure. Okay. So see, we have already learned that difference in various states of matter is due to the difference in the distances between the constituent particle, right? Why there is a difference in states of matter? Because of the difference in the distance between the particles, right? So what will happen when we start putting pressure and compress a gas enclosed in a cylinder? Now just imagine what we have done. We are applying pressure and we are compressing the gas which has been enclosed in a cylinder. Will the particles come closer? What do you think? Will the particle will come close together? And do you think that increasing or decreasing the pressure can change the state of matter? Now you have to think, like, if I increase the pressure, do you think there will be change in the state? Or if I decrease it, do you think that there will be change in the state of matter in that case? So see, you have like three different pictures which have been given on the screen, where we are applying pressure and the particles of matter can be brought close together. So as we are applying pressure, what can happen? the particles can come close to each other. Now see, we have the piston and the cylinder, and see the first picture where the piston and the cylinder has been placed like this only. But when we apply pressure, can you see the change in the particle, right? And when we apply more pressure, they become like, you can consider the first picture as gaseous, second picture as liquid, and third picture as solid. So here the particles are coming close together when you can say pressure has been applied on the piston, right? So applying pressure and reducing temperature can liquefy the gases. So have you ever heard of solid carbon dioxide? You might have, right? So the solid carbon dioxide, it is stored under high pressure, where this solid carbon dioxide will get converted easily to gaseous state. And we just studied that when we are converting solid directly to gas without converting that into liquid state, what will happen? It will decrease the pressure to 1 atmosphere without coming into liquid state. What will happen? The pressure will decrease by 1 atmosphere without coming into the liquid state. So this is the reason that solid carbon dioxide is also known as dry ice. Now you know. Now I guess you know why I said that you know about the solid carbon dioxide, because this solid carbon dioxide is also known as dry ice, and I hope that you might be knowing about dry ice as well, right? So dry ice is nothing but it's solid carbon dioxide. Okay, so thus we can say that pressure and temperature determines the state of the substance, whether it can be like solid, liquid, or it can be gas as well. So here we have interconversion of the three states of matter are been given, where like solid, when goes through the process of fusion, gets converted to liquid. Liquid, when it vaporizes through the process of vaporization, gets converted to gas. Okay, and gas through the process of deposition gets converted to solid again. Okay, then liquid, when solidified through the process of solidification, gets converted to solid. When solids are like solids undergo sublimation, they form like, or they get converted to gaseous state. And gases, when like condensed, gets converted to liquid state. So this interconversion of the three states of matter is very important, and you should be even knowing like how exactly the interconversion is taking place. Getting it, everyone? Because you should be knowing the name of the process that has been happening over here. I hope everyone is writing this in your book. Now, after this evaporation, I will start in the next class, but make sure you all are knowing this as well. Okay? I hope everyone is writing this interconversion, and if you want, you can even explain this in your own words by just drawing this figure. But I hope like now every one of you are writing this slide, so I'll show the previous slide again, and make sure along with this interconversion you are even writing about solid carbon dioxide. Okay. Okay. So now in the next class, I will be like starting with evaporation, what exactly evaporation is. Now, evaporation is a huge concept, so that is why I'm not starting it today, where we will be even studying about the factors affecting evaporation with an activity. Then we will be discussing on rate of evaporation, like how exactly it increases, like what are the different things which are impacting the rate of evaporation. Okay. Then we will discuss on like how does evaporation cause cooling. Now this is also one of the important concept where we will be studying about like how evaporation cause cooling. And as I said that there are not only three states of matter, but we have two more, because scientists now are like not only talking about three states, they are talking about this fourth and fifth one as well. Now solid, liquid and gases, we have already studied that. So the fourth state of matter that we have is plasma, and the fifth state of matter that we have is Bose-Einstein condensate. So these are the five different, you can say, states of matter that you should be aware of. Okay, so we'll be discussing all of them, and then we have the summary discussion for the lesson matter in our surrounding. Like whatever we have discussed so far in the lesson, we will be like doing a summary revision on each and every part. So you can see the summary is very lengthy over here. So we will be studying each and everything in detail. Okay. After this summary, we have like quantity, unit and symbols which have been given over here. So I want you all to please go through this slide once. So I hope everyone has gone through the slide once. After this, we have some of the exercise questions to discuss. So I want each one of you to please go through this exercise question once. I hope everyone is going through the questions. So this is how we will be ending up with the lesson matter in our surroundings. And I hope whatever we discussed today in this part for the lesson matter in our surrounding, you all are very much clear with it. Now, whatever part has been left, like we are mostly left with the evaporation part. Now, that evaporation is not a small concept, right? Because we have factors affecting the rate of evaporation, and then we have like one more thing on evaporation. So, evaporation is not small. Next part, we will be doing evaporation itself, and let's see like when we are going to complete it. But before that, I want each one of you to keep on revising whatever we have studied so far in this lesson matter in our surrounding. So whatever has been left, I'm going to continue that in the next class. Thank you everyone.